I think the time has finally come for me to, share my truth and express what honestly put me on this path to spirituality, yet alone healing in general. And truthfully, before I honestly began on this path, I truly did not know where I'd end up being. I did not understand the benefits of it. I did not know anything at all compared to what I know now, because I've come a long way. I've truly come a long way. And I'm honestly grateful for how far I've come compared to, where I began at. And so, what truly put me on this path to healing due to the pain that I endured was me and the love of my life, which is the mother of my child. I consider her to be the love of my life. We split up and went separate ways. Now, if you want to get technical about it, she technically didn't leave me. I left her. But it hurt traumatically. It caused me so much pain. And it's not because the fact of the matter is that, we split up and went separate ways. It wasn't because, the relationship ended. It was more so because the fact of the matter is, we share a child together. And that is my one and only child, my little girl. And man, I love that little girl with all of my heart. She cracked me wide open and brought out a side of me that I never knew existed. And I'm truly grateful for, getting the opportunity, yet alone having that experience to be able to, have me a child and to become a father and to, be in her life for the duration of time that I was in her life. And like I said, man, it wasn't because me and the mother split up. It was more so simply because, the separation of being away from my child and her brother as well, because I look at him as my child as well. He'll always be my son. I love him to death just as much as I love her. But man, being away from my daughter for as long as I have, in the beginning, along with thinking, man, hey, I'm not going to be able to be in her life. Somebody else is going to take my place. Man, it caused me so much pain. It really did. It caused me so much pain mentally, physically, spiritually, as well as financially. And I truly did not know how to cope with the pain. I didn't know how to, process it, yet alone I didn't know if I was honestly going to make it through, because I had some dark moments to where I truly wanted to, just end it all. But God was there every step of the way. Every step of the way, he talked to me and, kept me on a straight and narrow. And in doing so, I was able to find myself and become at peace with the situation after accepting it and all of the above. And so, as I progressed throughout my healing journey, I was able to, work through that pain and decipher the root cause of the pain and why I was having the pain and why it was taking me so long to let it go and to move on, to be happy and to be free and things of that nature. And, I was only able to find those answers by doing the necessary shadow work that was needed and or required of me in order for me to, be able to move through it and to make those positive changes within my life. And more than anything, like I said, I was able to understand myself from my mother wounds, my father wounds, my childhood wounds, my inner child wounds, I should say. I mean, just everything in general pertaining to me as the individual that I used to be in my past compared to who I am and where I am now. I had to work through all of that. I had to look myself in the eyes as far as acknowledging my demons as well as the skeletons in my closet and stuff like that. And After doing all of the above, I was able to accept the situation for what it was, and I was able to, let my daughter go, and knowing that at some point in time throughout my life, she will be back. And so, man, since then, I put myself out there back on the dating scene, and I've been dating here and there and stuff like that, and I ain't gonna say, I've ran into the one just yet, but there's plenty of fish out there in the sea. I'm sure I'm gonna run across that right one. As a matter of fact, that right one gonna find me. We're gonna put it like that. But with that being said, I previously attempted to give somebody a chance, who knew of the mother of my child. And 9 times out of 10, this is gonna rub an individual's cat hair backwards and stuff like that. But I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, the individual kept on trying to get me to hate my baby mother. Oh, I heard she did this, I heard she did that, and all of the above. Look, I truly don't care. I know more than what individuals think I know. You know what I'm saying? I don't need nobody to come and tell me nothing. I truly do not care. This individual is irrelevant to me in my life. The only connection that we have is the child that we have, And with that being said, hey, whatever she has done in the past, all the way up until now, I truly do not care, because it has nothing to do with me. I've done my healing that I needed to do in order for me to let go and to move on, and I'm happy and I'm at peace and stuff like that. But with this individual attempting to come and try and tell me all of this and that, it's like, okay, what are you attempting to try and do? You trying to get me to hate her? You trying to get me to speak ill on her, be mad at her, angry, upset, or hold some type of grudge? Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm good on that, because since day one, I've never spoken ill on my baby mama. I've never talked down on my baby mama, because the simple fact of the matter is, I used to love this individual. I used to be in love with this individual. We had a whole kid together. So what I look like, as a man, to be out here feeling salty and bitter, speaking down on an individual that I turned around and had a kid with, that I used to love at some point in time. Now, key word, I used to love. Used to being the key word. I'm not in love with her no more. And so this individual constantly keep on bringing her up, making her relevant into the situation that we had. And it's like, you ain't gonna change my perception of my baby mama. I don't care what she has done, who she has done it with. It don't have nothing to do with me. I will never hate this lady at all, in no way, shape, or form. I will always have love for this lady. I will always love this lady, simply because she gave me a child, something that nobody else on this earth has given me. So with that being said, I don't care. I don't give a damn what she has done, what she is going to do, and or what she is doing. I truly do not care. That is not of my concern. The only thing that concerns me when it comes to the mother of my child is the safety and well-being of my child. As long as she is good and taken care of, she ain't worrying for nothing, she's not being harmed in no way, shape, or form, hey, I'm good. I'm cool. Simple as that. Because, if any of the above happened, God forbid, that's when, you know what I'm saying, me that people haven't seen, that's when that guy's going to come out. And they don't want to see that. Simple as that. But that's a whole nother story, because I'm not that individual no more unless I have to be that individual. But with that being said, man, the whole moral of this story is I truly do not care what a person has done. I harbor no hatred, no resentment, no anger, or none of the above. It does not matter what anybody come and tell me today or tomorrow about the mother of my child. It's not going to change my perception of her. Simple as that. I love that lady, and I will always have love for that lady. I'm not in love with her, But I will always love her, and I will always have respect for her being the mother of my child, because that's just the type of individual that I am. No matter if we on speaking terms, if we cordial and civil with one another, at the end of the day, hey, I got children that are looking up to me, trying to see how I'm gonna go about handling any type of situation when it comes to interacting with, their mother. So with that being said, I have to be that role model for them. Meaning if we have a disagreement, I have to take a step back and reflect and think on some things and try and get my mental right before going back in and, trying to hash out whatever. Hey, being a man, I'm gonna do that. Simple as that. Because I got little ones looking up to me. And I need to be able to teach them on how to go about handling situations, because these cycles are repetitive cycles that's going to continue to happen. And so the first thing they're going to think about is, okay, well, how did my mommy and daddy handle this situation? And I want them to handle their situation in a positive manner, in a positive fashion. I want them to be able to come to me and ask me, how do I go about doing this? What can I do differently? What is it that I need to potentially do to resolve this? How did you do it? And I'm simply going to tell them, hey, give them the best advice possible. But I will always tell them, hey, look, you laid down and you had that kid with that individual, or you put yourself in this predicament. With that being said, don't speak ill on that individual. Don't badmouth that individual, because you knew what you was getting yourself into, just as I did. So with that being said, I never, be angry and upset and mad, to the point to where I'm bad mouthing her. Yeah, she caused me some pain. It hurt. It really did. But hey, I'm over it. I worked through it. And that was by looking at myself to figure out what it was that I allowed, what it is that I ignored. And this is where I'm at now. So with that being said, man, hey, look, man, you keep your comments, all of the little secrets, that's coming to light. I do not care. I truly don't. At the end of the day, I still have nothing but love and respect for that lady as the mother of my child, and I'll always have love for that lady. So there ain't nothing that nobody could tell me that's going to make me look at her any type of different. Simple as that. So you might as well keep all that to yourself, because it truly don't make no difference to me. Simple as that. We living life. We happy over here. I'm on the other side. I just thought I needed to, let that be known, since people feel as if, whatever it is that they got to say in regards to their opinions, their perceptions, and what it is that they know, they feel like it's relevant. It's completely irrelevant to me, and I truly do not care. Simple as that. But at the end of the day, guess what? She's still the mother of my child, and I'm always going to have love for her. I'm always going to respect her. She always going to be the love of my life, even though I'm not in love with her anymore. And that's just that. I forgive you for all of it, everything. Simple as that. I forgive you. I no longer harbor any resentment, any hatred, any anger, or none of the above towards you and or the situation pertaining to me and you, how we ended, went separate ways, and all of the above. That's not me. Simple as that. But to my baby girl, I love you and I miss you, and Daddy will always be here for you. I'm in the process of trying to make some things happen, so when I see you, guess what? Everything's on the up and up. But know that I'll see you soon, baby girl. I love you and your brother. Y'all take care. Love and light. Stay blessed.